What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying this really soothing classical music. Mike Zagari here. Let me put my webcam on so you can see two of me. What's up, guys? Happy to have everyone here for the second session of the Sponsored Brand Ad Workshop. I know it's just turned 1 o'clock, so we're going to wait for everyone to get in. And today we're going to be covering the rest of the workshop, which is going to be all about keywords, match types, and storefronts. And then we're going to pull it all together. We're going to put everything, all the pieces together to help you create some killer sponsored brand ads. Like I said last time, there is lots of opportunity here. Tons of opportunity if you know what you're doing. So what we'll do is we're going to wait a couple more seconds here. Wait for people to come on. Then I want to spend about 3 or 4 minutes debriefing based on the first lesson. So for those of you who are here for the first time, we had a really good 2-hour session on Monday, which seems like a lifetime ago at this point. Happy Thursday, everyone. We're going to be going over some of the things we covered on that workshop just in like 5 minutes or so. So that sets a little bit of context for the next part of this workshop, which is all about finding the best keywords, the match types, and driving traffic to a landing page or storefront and making sure that you are putting all the pieces together. So we're going to go over the different types of ads as well. So let me shut off this beautiful classical music. Now, the reason why I have this on is because this is an interactive workshop. You're going to take action today. You're going to learn, take action. Learn, take action. At the end, we will tie everything all together. And then I think what we'll do is we'll have a quick session in a couple of weeks just to debrief and see if you guys have any questions. We can even do that on Facebook. All right, I am going to get started. Let me share my screen. And here we go. Let's do the entire screen. Okay. All right, guys. So welcome back. Use these advanced strategies to master sponsored brand ads. So we started off by going over some really simple basic premise concepts. And if you go down, here's what we're going to cover on this 2-day workshop. We're going to do a deep dive into each ad variable, allowing you to craft the perfect ad. Now, as you know with sponsored brand ads, there's multiple variables. It's not like sponsored product ads where it's kind of simple and straightforward to set up an ad. With sponsored brand ads, you have to think about your main image. You have to think about your headline. You have to think about the products you're going to choose, the landing page, the destination, the keywords, the match types, all of that stuff. And also, like, what is the general goal of your sponsored brand ad? Is it for brand awareness? Is it to promote a new product? Is it to get a highly targeted group of buyers who are interested in buying one specific product? So like setting up a highly targeted campaign. There's different goals. And with that come different budgetary goals as well. So we're going to cover a bunch of that today. And just to let you guys know, we are looking at this area right here on the top of Amazon. You know, this is an interesting graphic because you can see there's up to 6 different places to click. If people click on option 1, 2, or 3 on the left side of the page, that's going to go to the landing page. If they click on option 4, 5, and 6, that's going to go to the product detail page. So as you can see, this is a ton of potential real estate, and it's at the very top of the Amazon search results, and it's why it's such a great opportunity. Now, here's another reason why this is such a great opportunity. People are not doing a great job with these ads. Like easygoing sofa cover. Easygoing sofa cover? Like, what does that mean, easy go? Oh, I guess it's the brand name. Okay, that makes sense. At first I was like, what do you... Yeah, but still, this is like a little lazy, you know? You know, it's like a brand that probably no one's ever heard of. It's a headline that really doesn't resonate, at least with me, you know, easygoing. All I'm saying is you guys can do better. And that's the reason why we're on this workshop today, to highlight that this is a blue ocean opportunity, and Amazon is pushing towards this. They are spending a lot of resources in making sponsored brand ads and branding in general on Amazon, the biggest thing for sellers right now. So we're going to go over a couple different things, and then why don't we go through what we covered last Monday. The first thing we covered was the brand logo, which Amazon calls it the brand logo. And that's this section over here. Now, the brand logo can be a lifestyle image. It could be a logo. It could actually also be the same product with a white background. So we went over the different reasons for when you would choose a brand logo versus a lifestyle image versus the product. And there's a lot of examples on Amazon of people misusing the brand logo. It's for brands that no one really cares about, or the logo is ugly or just doesn't resonate. This is a decent example of using the brand logo, but oftentimes the lifestyle image works really, really well. So we covered several different lifestyle images that you can choose from. We gave a couple tips on how to find what might resonate with your audience by going to different social media sites and just not copying them, but using them as an example to then create your own lifestyle images, because you can see how many times people have clicked. All of the stuff we covered the other day. Then we went over the other option, which is to put in your actual product as the brand logo, which is really cool because Google has studies that show if people see your product first, they're more likely to click on your organic listing. That's another benefit of sponsored brand ads. You're up there, you're getting that visibility, then people are more likely to click on you further down, whether it's on sponsored ads or organic. So having 4 of your products being shown at the very top, 4 different examples of that, that's really powerful. So you can leverage that by putting your product as the very first thing that people see on the left-hand side of the screen, which will likely increase your chance that they're going to click on your listing further down the page, according to Google. There are no studies yet for Amazon, but I would assume, making an assumption here, that it's very similar. So next we have the headline. We covered a bunch of stuff on the headline. Here is the actual headline. As you can see, it's highlighted in yellow. There's a lot that goes into the headline, but the good thing is on the last recording, we went over a bunch of different strategies to make this really very simple and straightforward. So the one thing that jumps out at me now is that we have the headline creator on Entourage, which is a totally free tool. You just have to go to our site and go to the, there's a section on learning on our site. Just go to the very top tabs, you'll see it. Click down and go to sponsored headline creator. And basically that'll give you a template on different headlines that you can use. We went over a couple different strategies. What's sticking out to me now is the 4U strategy. Make your product, make your headline unique. Make it, let's go over it together real quick because it's gonna, unique, ultra specific, a sense of urgency, and also useful. These are 4 things that can make your headline stand out from the rest of the competition. And of course we gave examples. For example, here, turn screen time into fun learning time for when somebody's searching learning toys. This is a way to make your headline very useful because it's solving a problem. If it's solving a problem, then it's useful to the client or to the customer. Okay, guys, we also went over a couple of tips and strategies. So if you haven't heard the first one, we went over the rinse and repeat strategy, where we find different search terms that are converting in our search term report. And then we leverage those search terms in our new headline, and we target those search terms and make it ultra specific. And we want to make sure that we are targeting those search terms and then putting them in our headline so that shoppers who are searching for that thing know that they're going to the right place. All right. So that's the copy, rinse, and repeat strategy, where we find an ad that's working really well. We then find a search term that's converting really well, and we marry the two things together. So once again, go watch the videos last week. We've had a lot of good feedback from this. I think people found value, and then we'll do more of that today. So next we went over the different product groups. Okay, so here we have the product groups. And as you can see, you have a choice of 3 products to display here. There is an option to allow Amazon to showcase different products for you, where you select all of your products and you check a button, and Amazon will select these products based on customer data. So if they think a certain product would sell more because of customer information and demographics for that customer, they will do that. It's a little caveat to that. That has to be for more of a brand play. It can't be more like if you're targeting a highly targeted keyword, I would just choose the products yourself and not let Amazon do it. But if you're doing a brand play, that could be a really good option. And we went over the fact that it's really important to have products up here that have really good conversion rates and really good click-through rate percentage. Put your best foot forward and make sure you don't put products up there that just aren't your best sellers. Put your best foot forward, and that'll give you a better chance to get to the next step, which is to sell the click and then sell the conversion. Then we did a bunch of different homework assignments. So I hope you guys had fun with that. We listened to some classical music and got some things done. The homework assignment after the first session was to come back to this session with any types of questions, which we will get to questions at the very end. Unless I see a question now, I'm just going to skip past that. Oh, hey, everybody. What's up? Hey, if you're here, guys, why don't you chat it up in the chat box and just say hello? And then we have a speaker request from Bill. Bill, do you still want to speak? Bill, if you're there, I guess not. All right, guys, well, say hello in the chat box, and don't be shy. Start chatting is what it says. What's up, Yanal? Hey, nice to have everybody here. All right, so DK, what's up, guys? All right, so let's get started. We're going to go to the next part of everything here. So this is the beginning of session 2. Here we have this next slide of where do we want to send all this traffic. So we have our main image, we have our headline, we have our products that we've discovered. Now, where do we want to send all of this traffic? And we have options here. We don't have to just send it to a landing page or to a storefront page. We can choose so many different combinations of pages, which is why this makes it a little challenging, because we have to think about what is the strategy here. Whereas sponsored product ads, we're just kind of setting up keywords and match types and search terms, and there's strategy with that too. But here we have creative strategy, and we have to direct people to an outcome, and now we have to decide where we want to direct that traffic to. So inside of Seller Central, there are 2 different options. You can direct traffic to the product list page, which is essentially a list of products going down an Amazon page. And the benefit to this is it looks very native and natural to the shopper. So people are used to all the different, the look and the feel of Amazon, and they see all the logos, they see the reviews, and you're directing traffic there, and it's easy for them because it's not like you're sending them to a storefront page where it might look a little bit different. So if you don't have a storefront page, this is your only option. You would just send traffic right over here. You could list at least 3 products going down the page, and you could put as many products as you want there. I think up to 15 stay on the first page, then they have to go to the second page. But this is just your first option. So inside of Seller Central, there are actually 2 options. Let me rephrase that. You can send them to a list page or a storefront. So let's go over the difference between the 2. And then inside of Advertising Console, you have 3 options, which is an Amazon storefront, the new product list page, or a custom URL. And the custom URL has to have at least 3 products on it. I have not sent any traffic to a custom URL. I'm wondering if there's a hack with that, but most people don't have the Advertising Console, so we're not going to be focusing in on that today. So here's what a product list page actually looks like. As you can see, it's just very native, it's natural, it looks like what shoppers are used to going down the page. I don't think there's any ads on this page, so you're paying for the click with the headline search ad, you're driving them here. Amazon, thankfully, is not going to be putting up any advertisements in the way of this. It's a dedicated list page, dedicated to the products that you have selected, going down the page in order. All right, guys? So very simple and straightforward. And the next page here is the storefront. So I chose this storefront because it really popped and stood out at me as a really well-designed storefront. First, we have the logo, and it's nice and big and bold and beautiful and natural. Own your health. That sounds really good. And then below that, you can tell like exactly what their product line is. Sleep Own. So these guys sell products and supplements to help you sleep much better, but they also have things for beauty and anti-aging, mood, stress, gummies, brain health, and heart health. So to me, this was a really nice and good example of a well-designed landing page. Take a look at your storefront if you have a storefront and ask yourself, what is it? Would I click on this? Did I just throw this together? Does it really resonate with my brand messaging? Do I have brand messaging? And by the way, guys, if you don't have brand messaging, I highly suggest following George Bryant. I've been saying that now. He helped me out to build sort of like the foundation of your brand. He calls it the lighthouse, where once you have your customer audience, your avatar, your messaging all aligned, then you can go ahead and you can create all these different assets from a really good, strong foundation. So highly recommend following George Bryant on Facebook. His website is mindofgeorge.com, or Relationships Beat Algorithms. Will totally help you build your brand, and it's all for free on the site. Very good stuff. So what's up, guys? What's up, Jonathan? So let's jump back over to here. Now, this landing page looks really good, but then what you could also do, now think about it this way. We're driving traffic to your general page. If we're driving traffic to this page, this is your overall Amazon storefront page. This gives people many different options. So if I'm doing a brand play where I'm trying to get my brand out to the masses and I'm trying to just get some brand awareness, this could be a really good place to drive traffic. But if I'm trying to target people who are into brain health and I'm just going to send them to my general landing page, it's going to take them a few extra seconds and a few extra clicks to click on that brain health. And of course, you're going to lose people in that process. So it's really important to make sure that you have alignment with your goal. And we're gonna tie all this together later, but just start to think, if I'm going to send people to my storefront page, where it's the home page of my storefront page, and they have all of these different options, they can click, they can go anywhere. Is that the right move right now? Do I have money for a branding budget? Can I send traffic using this? What is my headline? Is that a branding headline? Is my image a branding headline? Like all of these different things. Make sure there's a reason for where you're sending the traffic, as opposed to sending them directly to the brain health page, which has all of those products that they're looking for, and you're targeting a much more specific audience. So here's an example of that. It's the landing page. This is like a product line play where people who have shown interest in products related to, I think this is beauty and anti-aging, you would send traffic to this specific page. And we'll go over this in a minute, but essentially check out why this is a really good page and start to notice this, because I first heard this from Liz Adamson at the PPC Congress, and she presented on how to create good storefronts. And this really resonated with me because making your own storefront gives you many options as well. It's like a plug and play sort of template where you can put in all these different things. You can put a video, you can put a large image. So you have a lot of options. And it's really important to look at the experience from the customer's eyes and ask yourself, what are they seeing above the fold? Because a lot of people aren't going to be scrolling down to the bottom. So if you were to put a really big video here that would take up the entire screen, then that would be something that wouldn't be a really good use of that real estate, in my opinion, because then you're showing a video, they have to click on it. Your products are below that. They're not seeing stuff that's native to them on the platform. For example, the Prime logo is native to them. So if you can put that above the fold, and as you can see here, this is above the fold. I took a screenshot of my computer, and you can see the Prime logo is right there. That resonates with them. They see the product. It looks natural. And then going down the page, you can sort of create your page and maybe add a video after that. But it's important to take advantage of that real estate above the fold, make it natural as possible, but also align what you're trying to sell with what the customer is actually shopping for. In this case, they're probably searching for something, if I was to send traffic here, related to beauty and anti-aging. Like maybe they're typing in like healthy hair supplements, okay? And I put my headline search ad up there, and the destination is right over here, because now they can read about biotin and maybe some other supplement that I have inside of that product line. All right, guys? So pretty simple and straightforward. Now, I went out and found a couple of other good examples. If you guys want to research these, PetQ, Back to the Roots, Thrive, and Yogi Tea did a really good job at creating Amazon storefronts. And as you're looking at these, make sure that you just ask yourself, do you guys have a storefront that is worth driving traffic to, or is it not there yet? And that's okay. If you haven't built your brand, if you don't know what your brand messaging is, or defined your audience, you don't have your lighthouse built, then maybe it's best to start off with sending traffic to the product line, build a strong storefront, and then start to direct traffic here. So this is the part that I like. It's when everyone takes action. And let me see if there are any questions here. DK writes, how easy or difficult to create the landing page like this? Well, that it's very easy to do. It's like drag and drop, very simple to do. But like I said, you have to have your act together with like all of your images and all of your videos and stuff like that. Those are your brand assets. And a lot of people start by making that stuff first without building the foundation of their lighthouse, of their brand. Build the foundation of your brand, and then align all the people that are helping you out to that mission, that vision. And then say, hey, this is what the brand's all about. Can you make this image? Can you help me with the storefront? Can you help me with this video? Because everyone's aligned to that mission. And once you do that, everything else is so much easier. So it'll be easy to do, simple to do, drag and drop once you have your foundation in place. All right, guys, we are going to do our very first a very first activity of this session. So we have a 5-minute assignment. I wanted to keep this first one very short. We have Mr. Einstein over here, who is going to be with us the whole time. I'm going to put on some classical music while we start. So this will be a 5-minute activity. We're going to find 2 great examples of an Amazon storefront. And I want you to find 2 poor examples of an Amazon storefront. And then how does yours compare? Think about, how does your storefront compare? Now you can go and you can find your competitors' storefronts. All you have to do is click on their listing and then click on the brand name. You'll go to their storefront. So that's probably the best way to get there. But just go ahead and find some examples, get the wheels turning in your head of what's good, what's not good, and then ask yourself, how does yours compare? We'll do this just for 5 minutes. It's 1:21. We'll do it for 5 minutes. I'm going to put on some classical music with this cat over here. And I'll also be here for any questions that you have. Actually, I'm going to be back and forth. But get to work, guys. 1:21. I will see you all in 5 minutes. Okay, everyone. Let's see if we have any questions. And I'm going to turn my screen off while we do this. Okay, so Yanal writes, if we have a storefront, is it better simply to send traffic to storefront? So good question. That would be dependent upon how your storefront looks. If you have good conversions, you can go to the storefront dashboard and see if you have good conversions. There's a lot that goes into it. So if you have a really good storefront that you've dedicated a lot of energy towards, then for sure go ahead and test it out. And, everything requires testing. So good question, Does anyone have any links of a storefront that jumped out at them for whatever reason? In a good way, in a bad way, or would anyone like for me to critique your storefront? And guys, if you are watching the replay, if anyone's watching the replay and you want for me to personally critique your storefront, and I'll be completely honest with how it is, send it to mike@ppcentourage.com. I would be more than happy to take a look at your storefront and see if it's something that could, there's always room for improvement. So send it to mike@ppcentourage.com. My team and I will have a look at your storefront. But on the live call, if there's no one that wants me to look at their storefront now, if I caught you off guard, that's cool. Put it in the drop it in the chat box. Keep on calling it chat bot. Drop it in the chat box now, and we'll get back to it very soon. Okay, everyone, let's get started with the next part of the session. I'm going to go back and share my screen. Here we go. And share. All right. Okay, so next part, how do we find the right audience to target? So we always hear this, it's important. The number one thing when marketing is to define your audience and to find your audience. Define them and find them. Super important. And how do we do that on Amazon? What we do is we find the right keywords. So keywords are the lifeblood of the Amazon business. If you know the right keywords to target, then you're going to target the right audience. And in this game, there's a lot of opportunity with sponsored brand ads because it's not as saturated as sponsored product ads right now. And you can see there's lots of opportunity. And you can sort of get the gist of this by going on Amazon and typing in some mid-tail, some long-tail keywords to see what shows up. There's a lot of junk that shows up. And that's probably because not everyone is bidding on those long-tail keywords, so there's opportunity there. If you could put your product there with all the knowledge that I share with you today and from the last call, you have an opportunity right there. So we want to find the right keywords. We want to target the right audience. But which keywords are we going to target? It depends on what the goal of your campaign is. So if your goal is brand awareness, which is going to be the first one that we talk about, you want to think about a wider scope of relevant keywords that are related to your niche and category. So we're not going after the highly targeted, the most expensive keywords. We're casting a wider net. We're becoming more, we're getting our brand out there, helping our brand become more aware in the client's mind. So then we could also go after complementary product keywords. So we're selling product A, but product B complements that as well. We can potentially target product B to cast that wide net, the keywords related to product B to cast that wider net. We could also go after brand name keywords. So this is where we could start to steal away some of our client or customers from other brands that are out there. So we can target other brand related keywords. We could also target individual words. And the reason why we're doing that is to once again cast a wide net. Now this is really going to cast a wide net, and I'm going to dig into the search term report to show you how important it is to make sure your targeting is actually accurate, because if you cast too wide of a net, your results are going to be not as good. And of course, you're going to end up spending a lot of money. Also, when you're doing the brand awareness, think about it in terms of broad and phrase match, because once again, we're looking to cast that wide net. So we'll save the exact matches for when we know the keywords that have converted, or we know this keyword is super relevant for us, and we're going to use broad and phrase match. We're going to leverage that reach with broad and phrase match to get our brand out in front of as many people as possible. Make sense, guys? Pretty cool? All right. So here's an example that we used on the first session with McCormick Seasoning. As you can see, this is a complete brand play. And you see that they have the logo to the left-hand side. McCormick is a well-known brand. Then inside of the headline, it's Shop Classic McCormick Seasonings. And then the products that they chose are 3 what seems to be random, but probably really good products in that brand. So it's not like it's they're choosing a specific product line. They're going after 3 products that are probably well known, and it appeals to the masses. They're casting a wide net. They're getting their name out there. Now, just keep in mind, guys, if you do this, you should definitely have a budget for this, because this could easily eat up a lot of your spend. You want to make sure that even if you're a big company, they have budgets for brand awareness. If you're a smaller company, wait until you have some traction and then start to do this, and make sure it's just part of your advertising strategy. So check out the words that they might go after. If they were doing this brand play to get that exposure out there, they would go after potential keywords such as kitchen spices, because that's broad and related. Then, of course, they're going to go after their own brand name, because that's like super important to protect your brand. And guys, if you think that it's too expensive to go after your own brand name, they're going to click and find you anyways. I've read now so many times and studies that show it's important to protect your brand name. Very important. People will go towards your competition, and once you've lost them, you might have lost them for good. So make sure you bid on your brand name. In this case, you would put in McCormick. Then, of course, Simply Organic, which is a competitor brand name. Now you're trying to do what I just said competitors could do to you. So Simply Organic would be a competitor brand name that you would bid on. People, imagine that they type in that brand name and they see your products there. They may choose your products over Simply Organic. And then, of course, the individual word. Have to be careful with this. Make sure you don't choose a word that's too broad, but spices is a good example of an individual word in this case that might cast a really wide net, especially if you do like a broad match, phrase match too for spices. That would really catch a wide net and would be potentially good for a brand awareness play. Now just keep that in mind. We're doing this to get the most amount of exposure. And we're also, like, I wouldn't really want to target here organic crushed red pepper, because that could be a very expensive keyword. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But if we're doing that, that's a highly targeted ad. I'd want to have maybe variations of the crushed red pepper in that ad, a better headline that talks about organic red crushed pepper, maybe an image that shows how good our pepper is, people enjoying it. That's more of a highly targeted play. We're talking now about a brand play. So we want to make sure that we have brand and much more broad related keywords and a budget to support that. All right, goal number 2, product line exposure. So these are keywords related to all products inside of the product line. So what does that mean? Here we have another example, which we went over once again on the first workshop, of Grill Mates, which is a product line for McCormick. This is really cool because this is a pure product line play. You have the brand logo, but it's the product line brand logo. You have the headline. It actually has the brand product line inside of the headline. Try Grill Mates and infuse your food with flavor. I think that's a really good headline. Then you have 3 different products in that product line. So great example here of a product line play. And now I wouldn't want to just type in spices for this as a keyword. I wouldn't want to use the word spices because that's too broad. We want to start to narrow in the focus around this product line and start to define our audience by using keywords properly. So, for example, steak seasoning. Yes, that's part of this product line. If I'm bidding on steak seasoning, put Grill Mates out there, that's probably a really good connection. We could also do the same with chicken seasoning. We can do Grill Mates, which is the brand or the product line brand. We can do barbecue seasoning, hamburger seasoning. All of these words are specific keywords related to this product line. It's much more dialed in than the previous example where we were going after words like seasoning or spices and stuff like that. All right, guys. So this is pretty simple and straightforward. And then with this, you could use a broad match or a phrase match or even an exact match for some of these, because Montreal steak seasoning, like I would do an exact match for that. I would do an exact match for Grill Mates. I would do an exact match for hamburger seasoning. So you could start to weave in more of the exact match because you know your audience. You defined your audience. All right, guys. So really simple and straightforward. Next, this is the easiest to understand. We have the highly relevant keywords for the highly targeted campaign. So this is when you know what you're selling, you know who's going to buy it, you want to target them. It's like the exact match type. It's like, okay, Let's align this and go after who we want with a highly targeted campaign. So you're going to define what those highly targeted keywords are. And for a lot of you, that's simple and straightforward. Now, this is where it becomes a little more expensive because people probably are bidding on these keywords. And you also want to sort of balance that by going into the search terms that have converted from your search term report, because you'll find that perhaps from the previous campaigns that you set up, there's some search terms that are still highly targeted that you could now use that are not as competitive and not as expensive. So this is a strategy that's been used for quite a long time. And now you have the search term report for sponsored brand ads. So you can go back in time. You can look at your sponsored product ads. If you have Entourage, you can go back the entire time you've had Entourage and look at those sponsored product ad search terms, turn them into highly targeted keywords for your sponsored brands campaigns. But also now you can download the search term for sponsored brand ads. So the previous two and laser your focus in. And once again, guys, we'll go over all of this and sum it all together at the very end. Okay, so here's an example of a highly targeted ad. So we are selling a barbecue grill cover, and everything on this ad screams barbecue grill cover, okay? Gas grill cover, I should say. So the first image on the left is a gas grill cover. The headline says gas grill cover, and the products on the right are gas grill cover. It's an exact aligned match made in heaven. Example of the keywords that we would cover and target here would be barbecue grill cover, heavy duty grill cover, King Kong grill cover. So as you can see, very specific. Some of these might have been search terms that we now converted into keywords and are targeting on this highly targeted campaign. Like I said, might need a higher bid on these, but they're more likely to get the click and more likely to sell because it's exactly what people are looking for. All right, guys. Now we're going to do 15 minutes of action. And during this assignment, you're going to identify your top 5 to 10 keywords and 3 to 5 ASINs. Now, why did I put ASINs in there? This is really cool. Now, yeah, I'll go over this in a second, but now you could also do product targeting for sponsored brand ads. I'm going to explain that right after this assignment, but I want you guys to go out and identify your top 5 to 10 keywords and 3 to 5 ASINs. Identify your top 3 to 5 negative match. Okay, forget about that. This is a little out of order. You know what, guys? I am going to actually talk a little bit more before we do this assignment. All right, let's do this first. I'm going to put this right over here. Okay. Hang tight, everyone. I want to rearrange this just a little bit. Okay, so we'll get to that assignment in just 1 second. Just want to give you guys a quick tip and then recover just a little bit more before we get into that assignment. So we have this beautiful tool from Helium 10. You can see that there's not a lot of competition for some of these phrases. Now, some of these are really long tail, sleep in Kirkland signature, but look at the bottom. This is a really good example, kids sleep aid. No one currently is going after, according to Helium 10's tool, kids sleep aid. Now, there's sometimes where it's not 100% accurate, but what I did was I clicked on the kids sleep aid over here. Check out what's showing up. Our good friends from Natrol, and this is not a kids sleep aid product, okay? As you can see below the headline search ads, we have kids sleep aids there, but not at the very top. So this is an opportunity, and you're going to find that there's lots of opportunities here if you look for them. If you spend the time to craft those ads, if you do the copy, rinse, repeat strategy, you can then craft an ad once, find the search terms where there's opportunities, whether that be in the search term report or on a tool like Helium 10, and then you can then modify your ad to capitalize on that opportunity. Okay, and here's an example of a brand that well, it's 2 examples really, but Genius Consciousness is a brand, and they did not protect their brand with a sponsored brand ad. Look what shows up. Miro Hacker Collective shows up, okay? So this is either a good example of Qualia taking over and bidding on Genius Consciousness and then pushing Genius Consciousness down, or this is an example of Genius Consciousness just not bidding on their own brand name, which that would be a mistake. Either way, if you're Genius Consciousness and the Genius brand, you definitely want to show up here because this is This is definitely a mistake. They could lose some clients this way. All right, guys. So make sure this doesn't happen to you. And let's talk a little bit about match types. So match types, there's actually 4 different match types for sponsored brand ads. Now that might sound a little crazy to some people who are not aware of this, but there's broad, there's modified broad, there's phrase, and there's exact. Okay, guys? Most people are aware of what broad and phrase and exact are. So we're going to spend a little bit of time in that. And then we're just going to briefly cover what modified broad is and the use cases for that. It's still new to me as well. So we're going to go over when, sometimes when to use it, when not to use it in just a second. All right. So now here we have an example of the actual search term report. There we go. This is a sponsored product search term report for a broad match keyword. As you can see, the keyword on the left is kitty litter box. Check out what the actual search term is. Kitty litter box metal, medium kitty litter box, broad, pet safe kitty litter box. You can see that these are pretty good search terms and they're very related to the keyword. So broad match inside of sponsored products is pretty good. It's gotten a lot better. I remember back in the day where it used to be like really wild, where you would put a keyword in and it could be something completely different. It could be something like, I remember cigarettes showing up in the search term report. So just keep in mind that for sponsored products, a broad match, it's basically just going to rearrange the order of the keywords. It could rearrange the order of the keywords and then add some other keywords before or after in between. So you're going to see a pretty relevant keyword at this point. It's gotten much better. Now, this is the sponsored brand search term report. Now, I chose this as an example because the Matt's large came up in our search term report for sponsored products, and we used it in sponsored brand ads as a broad match type. And look at all of the junk that showed up. Now, we sell litter mats, and we have large bath mat, large children's mat, large equipment mat, large floor mat. None of these work really well. Large mat for gym, large outdoor rubber mat, large room mat, so all of this, the point is, especially if you're doing a broad match, make sure that the keywords that you select are somewhat relevant. This is not a good example of using the keywords properly with the broad match. This is an example of casting too far wide of a net. And I'd like to talk about broad modifiers, because what a modifier is if you put a plus sign before one or all of the words, you're basically saying to Amazon, I want this word to be in the search term. So you're modifying the broad match. You're still giving Amazon the flexibility to give you that wider net, but you're saying to them, hey, I want this actual individual word as part of the search term. Okay, so let's say, for example, we wanted to do cat litter mats. We would do plus, and we wanted that word cat in there, which in this example would be perfect. If we had the word cat in there as a modifier plus cat, and then we did mats large, then we would know that at least we're going after the cat audience, okay? Or we could put kitty as well, but at least we know that we're going to go after search terms, and we're only going to be connected to when there is a cat in the actual search term, which would knock out almost all of these wasted search terms on the right that did not result in any sales. Okay, guys? So just an example of targeting and digging into the search term report and making sure that you think when you're doing your search terms and your keywords, and you don't set it up like this where you end up wasting some money. All right, so now let's go over, we're really out of order here. Okay, let's go over this question here, match type question for you. When would you use broad versus broad modified versus phrase versus exact? I want to start to see what you guys think of this. And this is a good question, because now we're starting to think about strategy. You know, we're putting all the pieces together. We're starting to think about, okay, we have these great ads. We have these different strategies. When would I go ahead and use these different match types to my advantage? Or when could I use them to set myself up for success? And here's what I'm talking about here. If you guys have any answers, just type it in the chat box and let me know what you think. The question is, when would you use broad versus broad modified versus phrase versus exact match type? All right, now, what I can do is I can come back to this in just a minute. and let this sink in a little bit, and then maybe have you guys do your exercise and then come back to this. So come back to this question. When would you use broad versus broad modified versus phrase versus exact? All right, so now this is really interesting. You could now target on sponsored brand ads, product targeting. At first, I was like blown away by this in a bad way. I was like, what are you guys talking about? Because product targeting is targeting a listing, and there's no sponsored brand ads. The sponsored brand ads are the headline search ads. There's multiple locations, but this is like product targeting for a listing. And then I heard this all explained very well. And then basically what product targeting is basically either targeting the category or targeting an ASIN, but then following that category and that ASIN around. So Amazon will basically follow your sponsored brand ad around with that category or that ASIN. So if somebody types in a search term related to an ASIN that you're targeting through product targeting, your ad might show up because you chose that ASIN and there's a connection between that ASIN and that search term. Or if you choose a certain category, let's say we choose litter solutions or something like that, now our sponsored brand ad is going to show up when somebody types in a keyword related to that category. At first, I thought, well, this was got to be something new on the product listing page. And there may be some placements on the product listing page. It's always fluctuating. It's always changing. But now I realize that this is product targeting and just basically going after the audience, going after the ASIN and the keywords related to that ASIN. Okay, guys, so this opens up a wide scope of reach. We could now go after, for like brand awareness play, we can go after whole categories and related categories and get more reach that way. Definitely worth testing out. I know we are testing this out inside of our own Entourage management services. We'll have some results about this very soon, but it's definitely a way to get your, and then you can go in there, you can refine the audiences. Okay, guys, so this is like very new, very fresh, and a great way to expand your reach. All right, so I want to go into now negative match type, and then we're going to go into the assignment. So negative match type is another option that you can do when you're setting up your campaigns. I highly recommend setting up your sponsored brand campaigns with negative match types. We like to find the identifiers that don't resonate with what we're selling. For example, gym, we sell litter mats. I wouldn't want gym in there. That word to me would be perfect for a negative phrase match. Or let's go back to the list. If I was selling litter mats, I wouldn't want golf, right? I don't want to have any kind of exposure when somebody's typing in anything related to golf mats or silicone mats or board mats, all of these different things. I would want to identify what these words are so that I can reduce my exposure and ad spend towards the words that just are not going to resonate. Okay, so Amazon recently launched this part a few months back where now you can put in negative exact and negative phrase matches. We use it from the very beginning with precise negative phrase matching. And I'm going to show you guys an example of someone who didn't do that. Check this out. Litter screen privacy. They're selling something to make sure your cats have privacy when they pee or poop. And then guess what shows up? Protect your privacy with our selection of screens. All right. So this is an example that if somebody who was spending money on these ads looked into their search term report and saw that litter screen privacy was showing up and they were spending money on it, they would then use the word litter as a negative phrase match type so that they wouldn't get exposure anymore to this type of ad. This is way unrelated to their audience. Couldn't be any further away. So they wouldn't want this type of exposure, I'm sure, and they would do the negative phrase match. Now, one way to really find this good information is to use, once again, we have the Helium 10 tool here. If you type in an ASIN or a search term, you can see the word frequency count, and then you can go through this and just use your brain and ask yourself, does this relate to what I sell, or can I set this up as a negative phrase match to then refine my audience so that I'm not getting in front of the wrong people? Okay, guys, that's one way to do it. An even better way to do that is to use the Entourage tool called the Negative Word Finder. So the Negative Word Finder will show you the specific words where you have not gotten a sale. So we will highlight the specific words. There's an algorithm we use to find those words, and we say, okay, hey, you've had 30 unprofitable clicks for this, 20 unprofitable clicks for this. And then you manually go through this list and then cherry pick them and then use them as your negative phrase match. This is a great way. You don't want to like just sweep all of your campaigns with negative phrase matches. That's not a smart thing to do. You have to identify who your audience is, then go into your search term reports or use a tool like Helium 10, and then selectively put in carefully some negative phrase matches, and then slowly refine it over time. As your search term report comes in the next month, go ahead and do that again. A month later, go ahead and do that again. All right, guys. So without further ado, we have reached the next assignment. All right. So 15 minutes of action. It is now 1:51. Before we get started, let me just see if there are any questions. I don't see any. A lot of people on the call, but no questions. Everyone, feel free to speak up. This way we get some interaction going. This is an interactive, fun, action-taking workshop. All right, DK writes, what would be the best way to target complementary products? Example, grill, cover, targeting, perhaps backyard or deck products. Okay, so complementary products, of course, if you have to make sure you don't go too wide. Ask yourself, like, is there any evidence that shows that if these products are actually complementary, or is this just like too wide of an approach? So if you're selling grill covers and you're selling backyard or deck products, that might be a little bit too broad. You might want to go for like something like grill mats or something like grill brushes or something that's more complementary to. It's not as wide as saying like a backyard or deck product, like a I don't know what else to use in the deck, like a table or something, a deck table or something like that. It's a little bit too broad, a little bit too wide. So I would go after products that are similar in the niche and ask yourself, would the same person buy this product as the other product? Because you don't want to go too wide. You're going to end up spending a lot of money. Does anyone have any other questions? If not, we are going to get started on this next assignment. Identify your top 5 to 10 keywords and 3 to 5 ASINs. Then you're going to identify your top 3 to 5 negative phrase match identifiers. Okay, so we just went over how to do that. If you have Entourage, you could do that. If you have Helium 10, you could use it that way, or just use your brain and think, like, go back to the litter privacy example that I showed you. What else could people get confused of, and what can you use as a negative phrase match to fine-tune your targeting? Okay, next is, how would you use these keywords for the following strategies? Brand awareness, product line, highly targeted campaigns, and match. Example, like, tell us what type of match types you would use and what type of modifiers you would use. Okay, guys? So step number 1, find your top 5 to 10 keywords and 3 to 5 ASINs. Step number 2, identify your top 3 to 5 negative match types. Step number 3, how would you use this in various situations, okay? For brand awareness, product line, and highly targeted campaigns. We're going to do this for 10 minutes, and then we're going to sum everything all up at the very end. We are actually done. After this, I'm just going to go through like the summary of everything and just help give some clarity and also answer any questions. All right, guys? So instead of 15 minutes of action, let's do 10, and then we'll reconvene. All right, I'm going to put on my favorite classical music. And I will see you guys in 10 minutes. Okay, guys, jumping in, making sure everyone's still with us. We lost a couple people, but man, keep trying sex today. Alright, guys, 2 more minutes, and then we're gonna wrap things up. We'll go all together. 2 more minutes. Oh, right, wrong. That's it. Okay. Hey, what's up, everybody? I am back. And that was your final session of action. And awesome job, guys, with that. So that was probably the part that's probably the least fun for a lot of people is finding the keywords, but then thinking about where to put those keywords. But it's also the most important part because you're defining your audience, and then you're also defining how broad of a reach you want to go with that audience. Okay, guys? So we have the modified broad, we have the broad, modified broad, phrase, and exact match type. If anyone has any questions about keyword targeting, let me know, and then we'll go from there. But I don't see any questions now. And of course, you guys can always ask me any questions you want, mike@ppcentourage.com. Let's get into tying this all together. All right. So we have the 3 core campaign strategies. We talked about massive brand exposure. Now, first and foremost, make sure that you have a budget to support this. This could get very expensive very fast. So with massive brand exposure, with this strategy, what we're doing is we're going after likely a brand logo because we're exposing our brand to the world. We're going after our audience, but we're trying to go really wide with complementary products and product lines and getting our name out there to people who might be interested in purchasing from us either now or consideration in the future, okay? So your brand logo would be a good play here. Inside of your headline, you want a brand-related headline, and we have that inside of the brand, the headline creator. We have brand-related headlines specific for this type of ad. Then the products that you choose are going to be more of the best products inside of your brand to showcase your brand as a whole. Now think back and remember that we went over the McCormick brand. We went over 3 products that really showcased and probably caught a wide audience of people who might be interested in McCormick spices. Then we're going to target more broad related keywords to get more reach and more visibility. We're going to target keywords like kitchen spices if we're selling the McCormick product to just try to get our brand in front of as many people as possible. And we're going to marry that with different match types like broad and phrase and even modified broad. Now, broad and phrase gives us bigger reach, and that's what we're trying to do in the brand exposure campaign. We could also then use the modified broad to make sure that we don't go way outside of our reach. This is a way to start to refine our audience a little bit by putting a plus sign in front of certain words that's going to ensure that that word is in the search term when customers are shopping. We're not going to get exposure for different search terms we don't want to get exposure for. Then we're going to drive traffic to either a product list page or a storefront page, the home page. All right, guys, because that's going to be a place where you can showcase your brand and let them make the decision as to where they want to go, which product line page they want to see. They'll scroll down, maybe see a product that they're interested in your brand. So that is the massive brand exposure campaign. Probably going to be the more expensive one because you're casting a wider net. So you have to be very careful in this, not to cast too wide of a net, and to make sure that you have your proper negative setup in place, your modifiers set up in place, and you're directing traffic appropriately, and it's not going to be too expensive that way. Next, we have the product line campaign. Okay, product line campaign. We gave the example of McCormick, the steak, the seasoning. I think it's called. What was it called? McCormick. One second, guys. Yeah, we gave the example of McCormick Grill Mates. And product line basically is you know the products in your product line. You're going to drive traffic to a specific subset of products. And then you're going to start to refine your target, your audience. You can have the option to choose an image that is one of your actual products. You can choose a lifestyle image on the left-hand side. Then you could also choose a headline that has something in that product line in it to make it more precise that people know that it's your product line. So basically, like we gave the example before of let's actually see they chose try Grill Mates and infuse your food with flavor. Okay, so this is an example of a really good product line headline where we're actually using the actual product line in the headline, and it kind of ties everything all together. So that's a product line headline, and we also do have product line headlines in the headline creator. Inside of the product line, we're also going to have 3 products that we're going to choose to showcase that product line. Now, as you can see before, we in the McCormick example, those 3 products were part of that product line, the Grill Mates product line. So make sure that it's all connected, and we're trying to create really good alignment. Then in terms of the keywords that we're going to be targeting, we want to start to narrow in our focus a little bit around the keywords that support the products in this product line. We're not going to go as broad. We may use phrase and exact match here. We may start to narrow down the targeting. We may start to use our modifiers. We may start to use our negatives to make sure that we're refining that audience and we're targeting people who are interested in products in this product line. And then we can direct traffic. The landing page aspect of this is directing traffic to the page dedicated to that product line. Okay, guys? So for example, we're selling Grill Mates. We could have a storefront page that has Grill Mates, all the products in the Grill Mates, starting with your best foot forward. We would put the storefront with the best-selling product at the very top. Okay, guys? So next, we have the highly targeted. Now, this is super simple. This is when you know what you're selling, you know your audience, you know what you want to sell, you want to direct traffic to that highly targeted product, going from the image. Maybe you have a lifestyle image that shows that product in use. Maybe you use the actual product image itself with a white background, but it's actually that product that you're targeting, that keyword that you're targeting, and you want to make sure everything is aligned. So your headline will have that keyword in it. You're going to target that keyword. It should be in your headline. There's alignment there. Then the products that you're showing are variations of that product. Now, we used grill cover as an example. I think we used grill mats as an example. So grill mats is the search term. On the left-hand side, we had a lifestyle image of a grill mat. In the headline, grill mats was in there. We used some of the strategies that we talked about to make a really good headline. Then the products that we were showcasing were different variations of that grill mat. Then you send traffic to a detail page specific to grill mats. We're aligning everything. We're going down. We're making sure that we're sending traffic the right way, and we're not causing any kind of doubt or confusion or sending people to the wrong destination. Full alignment on a highly targeted campaign. All right, guys, so we have the brand exposure campaign, we have the product line campaign, and we have the highly targeted campaign. So those are the 3 different types of campaigns. If you guys have any questions, just let me know, because I do have a little bit of time right now. And if not, I will be available on our Facebook page, which is the Entourage Seller Community, or mike@ppcentourage.com. All right, Yanala writes, broad match without proper use of negatives looks risky. I would use phrase. Yeah, well, it is. If you're doing a brand awareness play, you want to make sure that you set up your keywords right from the very beginning. I like the idea of using broad match modifiers and also some negative phrase matches as well. Phrase match is definitely less risky. All right, guys, I'll hang out for just another minute. If not, we are going to call this a day at 2:10, and then we'll send out an email with a reminder of the replay. Let me know what you guys think, and please go ahead, create these ads. There's just so much opportunity with these ads. Look at this. In creating this presentation, these are some of the ads that are up there. Now check this out. Windshield car mount. This was actually a really good one because it shows the image, the lifestyle image. The windshield car mount is actually in the headline, so there is some alignment there. And then it's actually showing 3 variations of the product. So I thought this was a really good example, but there were countless bad examples. Check this one out. Soccer toys for kids. This is not a soccer toy for kids. Electronic puppy for kids to have fun by Barranco with a Santa hat. That's a little bit too broad for my liking, okay? So if you're selling soccer toy for kids, well, this is an opportunity. And there were countless examples of just lots of junk up there. Here's one that I thought was pretty good. Computer screen cleaner. And as you can see, somebody's actually cleaning their computer screen, cleans without streaks for eyeglasses and screens, and then the 3 different products. This was actually a decent example. Let me see this one here. Here's an example of litter box matte medium, a lifestyle image. Keep your floor litter free. This is a pretty good ad too, because it's telling people to keep their floor litter free. It's aligning with, actually, no, it's not. The reason why I put this here. This is an example of a complementary product. So somebody's typing in litter box matte medium, but they're selling a litter matte. So that's a complementary example. This is not a bad ad. It's just keep in mind that the results might not be as good because this is a complementary example. It's not very precise. It's not the highly targeted ad that we were talking about. All right, guys, so we are going to wrap things up, and I want to thank everyone for joining, and the feedback that we got from the first session was really good. I hope you guys enjoyed this session as well. Any questions, once again, reach out to me, mike@ppcentourage.com. And my final messages to you are just craft some really good ads. Spend some time in this. This is where the opportunity is at right now. There's going to be more opportunities. Video ads is going to be really good. It's already really good. It's performing really well. So we want to start to build your brand assets. Also, check out George Bryant. If you haven't done so already, the guy is an absolute next level genius when it comes to building a brand. And that could totally help with the goal of building your brand on Amazon. Amazon is going to start to favor brands who have their act together. You could take advantage of that by crafting really good sponsored brand ads. Go out there, find the junk in your competition. There's got to be a lot of it. Outpace your competition. Spend some time on this. Do the assignments that we recommended. All you have to do is do those assignments and break it down into the categories and start to make more strategic decisions with your sponsored brand ads, okay? And then put the pieces together, leverage the copy, rinse, and repeat strategy that we talked about before, and start to build an absolute army of sponsored brand ads. So I promise you guys this would be all action, no fluff, no pitch. I hope I kept that promise with you. And I want to thank you guys for all coming and following throughout this time. I'm going to leave you with 20 seconds of some cat music. I'm not that much of a cat guy, but I guess it appears that. You're welcome, guys. Enjoy, everyone. Enjoy your weekend. I will talk to you guys all soon. You're welcome, Marcus. Bye, everyone.